Hello and welcome to the Leah Noel Design Co. YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create this faded look on this dresser. It's going to be black and teal. It's turning out really cool and I'm excited to show you my process. So to begin, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of everything I've done to get to this point. So the first thing I did is I always prep my pieces with white lightning cleaner and a spray bottle. I mix about a tablespoon of white lightning cleaner and I put it in this bottle and I mix it with hot water and I just keep this around, you know, like a cleaner that you'd keep under your sink, except I keep it in my shop. Once it's clean, I clean it, I rinse it really well with just plain water and then I let it dry. After it's clean and dry, I scuff sand it. So what I mean by scuff sanding is I take my Orbit Round sander and usually just like some sandpaper and 120 grit, and I just scuff it. This whole piece takes me like about 10 minutes. I would say about 10 minutes exactly to just scuff sand. So you're not taking the finish off, you're just kind of rubbing some of the shine off and any existing gunk that would be on your piece. Once that's done, I wipe it down. You could wipe it down just with water. If it needs it, clean it with the white lightning process again, where you would clean it with the white lightning and then you would rinse it. That may not be necessary depending on how dirty your piece is. I like to wipe it down with just a damp cloth, or sometimes I'll even use denatured alcohol, a 50-50 mix of water and denatured alcohol. But that's just if I'm really concerned about there being oil on the wood, I'll use the denatured alcohol mix. This I didn't have to. This had a factory finish on it. It is the one piece in a 4-piece set, 2 nightstands and 2 dressers. After I cleaned it, I brought it in the spray booth and I sprayed it with chalk mineral paint and Caviar. Now, I'm an avid primer. I love using primer. This surface wasn't too slick, so I didn't feel like I needed to use Slick Stick, which is a primer for slick surfaces. Slick Stick is also white, so I wanted to avoid that. So I used the chalk mineral paint as an adhesive primer to the silk mineral paint. Now, there's nothing to be said that I couldn't just spray silk mineral paint on my piece and it would be fine, but I really feel a lot more competent in my pieces when I prime them. So the chalk mineral paint, creating that extra like adhesion really made me feel better. I have painted pieces with just the silk mineral paint and I've been fine. But this was a 4-piece set, so I wanted this base coat of Caviar. The other benefit of using a base coat of chalk mineral paint is the chalk mineral paint is less expensive than the silk mineral paint. So if I spray this first, and I mean I use this whole thing to spray these 4 pieces, it's less expensive because then using this as your second coat, you don't need as much. And then this has a built-in top coat and also a stain blocker. So I have the priming properties in this jar as far as stain blocking, and then I have the adhesion properties in this jar. So if that doesn't make sense, please let me know. It's just my preference. Now on my plate here, I have a photo. I'll put it in the next video and you can screenshot it if you want to see the colors. But I have Peacock, Pure Ocean, Mermaid Tail, Fluff, Dixie Belle Blue, and Pine Cone. Okay, Fluff I'm not really using, but I always like to have a white on my plate when I'm doing a mix like this, just in case I need it. And Pine Cone might go on later, but Pine Cone's one of my favorite colors for like this kind of like faded southwesterny look that we're going for. Let's start with my darkest 2 colors, which is Mermaid Tail and Peacock. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to stipple it in this corner, or in this bottom here, and I'm gonna alternate between Mermaid Tail and Peacock, because Peacock's my second darkest color. And I want it to have a varied look. Okay, so I want those 2 colors to like, just kind of be a little bit varied looking. And I don't know if I want to paint this edge yet, so I'm just gonna leave that until last. And then I'm gonna come out with a lighter color. So I'm gonna go with Dixie Belle Blue right here and on this side. And I'm gonna start blending it with a little bit of Pure Ocean, which is my other light color on my plate. Not Pure Ocean, I'm doing these 2 colors. So first I did Peacock and Mermaid Tail. Now I'm using Dixie Belle Blue and Pure Ocean. And I'm doing these on the sides. And I'm gonna start carrying it up because I wanna get a little less paint on my brush. And I'm gonna start kind of doing the circle motion. And that is gonna make this look really faded on these drawers. So we're fading from the center out. We're creating a fade. So I'm gonna go back through my process of my two darker colors, Mermaid Tail and Peacock. And I'm just kind of coming around these corners here. I want my blend to be center focused, and I added these would you bend moldings. So the whole point of this is to keep my blend center focused instead of blending out this drawer front, this drawer front, this drawer. I decided that blending the middles out would just give it a cool, unique, new look. Something different that I haven't done before. Go in with a little bit of the fluff just to lighten it up a little bit. Give it some more varied colors. So now I'm kind of looking at my piece and I can go in for a second coat. So let's go in to the bottom and give it a more varied look. So this is dry and this is wet up here. I'm still gonna touch up a little blending. What I wanna do is I just wanna create a little bit more of a varied look. So what I'm gonna use now is I'm gonna use my fluff, and I'm probably gonna use a little pine cone too. So I just have a little bit on my brush. I'm gonna take a little off, so you can see it's just a tiny, tiny amount. And you can totally see that right there. I just wanna get a little bit more, a little more color through here. Touch of pine cone. If you can see how much I put on my brush, and I'm just gonna scrape it on the edge of my plate so I have a really small amount. I'm gonna start with the pine cone up here. A little bit too much. I really like it. I think it gives it just a really deep aged look. And I can always tell the difference from when I add this color and not. This is my favorite Dixie Belle color, pine cone. I use very small amounts of it, but I use it on most of my pieces. So you can see the depth difference between this one and this one. And as I go down, you're gonna be able to see how that little bit of pine cone carries and gives this more depth and character in a way that no other color does. So we're gonna get a little more pine cone and we're gonna rub it on. That is our process. Once this dries up here, we'll do the top, and I will be back when the next step is ready. Hey guys, so we're gonna go ahead and fade up the sides. I made this cool little color plate for you from the one that dried from the front the other day, so that you can actually see what colors I'm using and how much I put on my plate. This is dried, and so I have the same plate right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I will be using my oval round brushes today. I like the roundness of them because I kind of want this to come on a curve, and I'm gonna go ahead and start blending it up. So I'm gonna start with an oval round brush, and I'm gonna start with my two darkest colors, Mermaid Tail and Peacock. And I'm not gonna have much paint on my brush. My paint is heavier through here. And then this up through here is just kind of like smoked. So I'm using just heavier paint down here, and then I'm letting it get lighter on my brush as I move through the top. And I'm gonna reach it about 1/3 of the way up. So I'm gonna continue to do that and alternate with between my Mermaid Tail and my Peacock, which are my two darkest colors. And then I'm gonna start going in with my Dixie Belle Blue, my Pure Ocean, maybe a little Fluff and a little Pine Cone towards the end. So that's what I'm gonna do. Blending this color in a little bit more into the drawer so it looks faded. So I'm using Caviar chalk mineral paint. I'm using the chalk mineral paint because I prefer to use the chalk mineral paint when doing any kind of blending or artistic looking finishes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get a little bit on my brush. I like to wipe a little bit off, and I'm just gonna hit my corners and just start blending it in where the black would be. And I have coffee bean just for a little bit of contrast. And I might even use a touch of pine cone. So I'm just trying to make this transition look more organic. Over all my edges here with this coffee bean and caviar mix just to fade it in. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Everything's all faded in. I'm calling this done. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and blend this brighter piece onto this darker piece using Caviar and Coffee Bean. They're two dark colors. So I have this brush I've been using and it's dry. I'm just gonna grab a little Caviar, brush it off on my plate. Even on the floor a little bit because I don't want too much on there. And I'm just gonna slowly start fading this line in. Coming down in here as well. Okay, so I'm gonna start adding some darker spots on this paint color, and that's just gonna help make it look more like an organic blob. I'm misting it with water just to be able to move this paint a little bit more. And instead of adding more paint, I'm gonna just mist my piece and use what's on my brush. I am gonna add a little more paint right here, and then I think we're done.